there. This is another episode of GH3 testing. So far, everything I've done has been under pretty ideal conditions. And I'll admit to some anxiety about the upcoming downhill snow ski race season. It's a tougher environment. Often we have days that are really gray or actually snowing, and it's pretty dark, and that means I've got to pump a lot of light into my camera and still maintain a really high shutter speed so I can stop the action. And I'm worried about being able to do that. So this morning, it was so gray and dark that even an optimist would have called it gloomy. Seemed like the perfect opportunity to go out and do a little testing. And I did. And my goals were to find out how I could get that fast shutter speed that I need. What ISO do I have to get that done? Also wanted to check on the burst rate, make sure that it's fast enough shooting RAW, because if it's not, then I've got to shoot JPEG. My pictures are used by the coaches and the skiers as training pieces. So they expect little bursts of 10 to 12 images as they come around a gate. And I want to be able to deliver that. So that was a second test. And I also wanted to be sure that the autofocus was performing fast, even in the low light. So as dark and gloomy as it was, I went out. I sent my dogs out because I don't have any snow or any skiers in my backyard, but the dog worked perfectly. So the sweet spot turned out to be ISO 6400. I got a 500th of a second and f5.6, which is as wide open as it gets at 158 millimeters, and that's roughly what I'm a focal length that I'm used to shooting. So, wow, ISO 6400. From my Nikon days, 800 was high, and anything 1200 or more was don't even bother time, and I shot at ISO 6400. So I again admit to some anxiety as I came in to take the pictures off the card, and lo and behold, they weren't bad. Yes, there is some grain. Of course there is. At ISO 6400, we would expect that. But with the tiniest bit of noise reduction in Lightroom, the pictures were usable. How usable? I wouldn't blow them up to 16 by 20. I wouldn't put them in an e-product that was designed to play on the big screen. I just wouldn't. They're not that good. But to print at 5 by 7 or 8 by 10, or to add to my favorite products, which are the hybrid e-products that are meant for, you know, your smartphone or your tablet or a modest-sized computer screen to be shown on the web, I think they were plenty good enough for that. Actually, quite good enough for that. The burst rate was awesome, much better than the GH2, which wouldn't have cut it, but the GH3 does. And the combination of the 45 to 200 autofocuses plenty fast enough for what I need to do in ski racing. So the summary or the bottom line is the GH3 is everything that I want so far out of a pro camera body. It just is a splendid piece of equipment. The 45 to 200, I really could wish that it had f2.8 throughout the range, just like my 35 to 100, or that 35 to 100 would do it, but it doesn't. I can use the 45 to 200, so that kind of loud monster of anxiety is now a lot smaller and has a much more quiet voice. I do expect a little bit of a reaction on the hill this year. There are several pros who shoot every year big Nikon and big Canon glass, like me the last time I shot snow ski, and they'll snicker behind their hands or maybe even openly to my face at my small camera and my long but small lens, and I'm okay with that. I know that I'm getting images every bit as good as what I was getting before, better, And I can now add video and make cooler products than I could ever make before. So it's all going to work great. By the way, the gloom lifted a little bit this afternoon, so I went out and did another test, and in just reasonable amounts of light, I was getting shutter speeds of a 2,000th of a second, and that was at ISO like 1,000. So it's all good. I'm Carol. I'm a dreamer. I'm a portrait and action photographer in Southeast Wisconsin. Until next time, shoot lots, remember the video, and keep dreaming.